Welcome everyone to our webinar today. We would like to excuse Veronica Stephen from moderating this. She is sick today, so I will be filling in. My name is Joe Stephen, and I'm a web designer here at RSC. And our topic today is bringing efficiency to the work order process. This is our agenda for the meeting today. We're going to start with some introductions of our panelists. Then Bob's going to give a presentation, and then Jessica from California ISO will give a presentation. Then we'll have questions. However, if you do have a question mid-presentation, please feel free to ask that question either in the questions part of the webinar, or just unmute yourself and ask the question, and we can answer your question mid-presentation. And then we're going to jump into our conclusion. So let's meet our panelists. Bob Stephen, he's the CEO of RSC, and he's been working in Archibus for about 20 years. And then we have Jessica Surprenant, who is the facilities analyst at California ISO, and she's been working in Archibus for about 3 years, but she's been in facilities management for 10 years. Bob, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Joe. So as Joe said, CEO of RSC, Archibus, actually 25 years in Archibus, in business for 23, and we have identified and know that work orders is one of the main foundations for most companies that want to track good data. Jessica.
Thank you, Bob. My name is Jessica Surprenant. I've been using Archibus facility use for 3 years. 90% of my day is spent on Archibus. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, Bob, the CEO of RSC, will give his presentation on work order efficiency. Bob.
Thank you. So I'm going to start off with basically how a medium-sized work order gets accomplished in most companies, and how the automation workflow rules within the application really make it efficient. So basically, a end user or a staff at large can go in and either on their phone or a web page fill out information and submit a work request. And it's important you understand this can be on a phone or a web page. I'm showing you a responsive design web page, an Archibus responsive design web page that you can submit work orders in. As soon as that work order is submitted, there is an email sent to the requester indicating that your work order has been submitted, and here it is, and this is the number. At that very same moment, the craftsperson is notified that they've got a new request. If that, we have things that monitor whether that craftsperson is available or not. And if that craftsperson is not available, the supervisor is automatically emailed and notified that there is not a craftsperson, or the craftsperson that was assigned initially is not available. And this individual, this supervisor, can then assign another craftsperson. This craftsperson now has the ability to go and do the work. And as they do the work, they have 3 ways to update the information. They can either do it on their phone or the handheld while they're in the field. They can go back to the web page and update it, or they can go to what's called the maintenance console, and we'll talk about that maintenance console here in just a minute or two. The other thing that the end user or the staff at large, all staff can do, is they can receive email statuses all the way along the process. So should the work order be put on hold for parts, or needs to be on hold for expertise, or delayed for whatever reason, or is in process, an email can be sent to the staff person. This is optional, but it can be sent to this craftsperson or to the staff at large to help them understand what's going on. Ultimately, they could go to a web page at any given time and look at the status of any and or all of their work requests. Finally, a help desk person, if you have one, you don't have to have one, a help desk person can update this information at any time. So what does that mean? Sometimes some of us are still on paper, and if the craftsperson's been given a piece of paper to go do something, they can bring it back to the help desk person, and the help desk person can update the information. Or they could be waiting for invoices to come from vendors to go ahead and input costs, or parts that were purchased, or parts that were removed out of a warehouse. All right, well, I just went through this, but I'm going to kind of go into some 3 different areas. So I'm going to go to what's called the workplace. This is the staff at large workplace portal. And it's responsive, so they can do it on their phone or they can do it on a web page on the desktop. And they have multiple things to choose. And we can turn these on and off, but right now we're going to go to the services side, which is the one on the far right. But you should also know they can locate people in rooms. They can actually reserve hotel spaces, which is the second one, or they can do reservations, which is the third one. But the fourth one is services. When they go into services, they're dished up this web page or this choices to be able to choose whether they want to move requests to general services or some type of other type of work request or service request they want to have done. And the other thing is it can be mobile. So this is the exact same application on a mobile front end looking at it. And these are the requests. So you can see on the right-hand side, binary requests. They're looking at the requests that this person has submitted. So that's the workplace. This is what this end user or staff will be able to see. All right, now let's talk about the craftsperson, the maintenance manager, and the help desk person. They'll be given what's called the maintenance console. And the maintenance console is a one-stop shop to manage all work requests. This is how it makes it the most efficient. So if you see on the left-hand side in the white and gray area, we have different statuses. It's in requested mode, approved mode, assigned to work, issued in a process, on hold, or completed. I've unfolded 2 of them, approved and on hold for the. We also have a priority, whether it's an emergency, urgent, routine, and 2 or 3 other ones. When you click on this, any one of these work requests within this maintenance module, within the module, a second page will appear that will show you the details of that work request. And initially, you're going to see location, problem type, and request, which I collapsed because it was quite a lot of data. But you can also add trades, you can add craftspersons, and you can actually add work logs or information about what's going on with that work request. Additionally, you can add documents and activity. So if you're on the site and the craftsperson wants to add a picture, or the submitter added a picture, the pictures will be shown here, and you can see them. And you can see that there are documents, or if there are procedures from the manufacturer, those can also be shown here, and it can be retrieved by the craftsperson to be able to see how to do their work on a certain piece of equipment. And then what I'm going to finally go into is what's called the service level agreements. This is actually the back-end work engine that makes the work orders most efficient. Right now I'm showing the nine service level agreements. I have some companies that are as low as 2 or 3, and I have some companies that are high as 800. These can be routed by location. In fact, actually, let me show you that on the next screen. Excuse me, I'll get to it here in just a second. So on the left-hand side, which is a summary, this is basically how this service level agreement was configured. So any problem that has a problem type of emergency or safety and a site code of Boston and a building code of BOSMED will then move to this workflow. And the workflow here is to automatically approve it and to notify the requester so this is how the emails get thrown. And then the dispatcher has to approve it, and then it auto creates the work order, and then it'll notify the supervisor. Assign a work order, and then we'll automatically issue it to the craftsperson, and that's how we get this auto approve. It goes all the way to the craftsperson with all these other automations totally happening in the workflow. On the far right is the service level, which is basically saying this needs to be done between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Fridays. Do not do these on holidays. This type of work is not done on holidays. You need to respond within 30 minutes, and time to complete is 4 hours from the time you get on site to complete it. And the service desk manager, this is AFM. Let me walk through these screens a little bit more closely, and this is what I started just a few minutes ago. So on the 3-step process to create up a service level agreement, you have all of these choices. You don't have to fill any of them in, and you don't have to fill, you can only fill the ones in that you want to fill in. So remember, this was an emergency safety, so you can see that we chose a problem type right there in the middle. Emergency and safety as the problem type. So if it comes in as a problem type, emergency safety, it'll look at this service level agreement. Then it determines whether it's in this side of Boston and this building, and then it gives it a priority of 3. Now we could get more granular with floor and room code, and even down to piece of equipment or equipment standard. We can even get tighter with requester. So let's say, you know, this is at Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg is going to request, that's going to escalate it. Or if it's a certain type of standard, if all VPs get a certain different type of treatment, we can service level agreement that. Or if there's an organization that has some needs, we can take a look at that as well. So you can fill in any and all of these. I'm going to pause there for a minute. Are there any questions? If I'm just going to wait for 2 or 3 seconds and see your hand. If there's no hands, we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the first step. The second step, well, let me go back. The second step is the workflow. So we were showing you how all the emails went out, and this is where you configure this. So you can see that we don't have approval required because this is an emergency. We want this to be automatically processed. But we do want to notify the requester, and we do want to enforce these rules. Basically, that means that if any change to the status or type of this work request happens, it won't allow it. It has to be done this way. We're going to let this work team know, just in case if Sally's not available, Johnny can do it. So the work team that's assigned to the BOSMED work team will be notified of this work request. We're going to automatically create a work order, which means it's going to automatically get to the system and get to it immediately because it's emergency. And we're going to notify the supervisor. We don't have any craftspersons or roles assigned here. The next one is, this is that time one, that third level we were talking to you about. This is between 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays. Holidays are not allowed. You can see that it's not checked. And we can put in some other things. If you have some regulation requirements around there, we can put those details in. We have some compliance contact or some terms that need to be done. Those can be added. We can also put in costing information, and then you can see the time to respond to complete and who's going to be notified of these changes. So this is the service level agreement process. It's very, very nice. Again, service level agreement, this one I'm showing you 9, you can have multiples. All right, I'm going to go through the process again, and the reason why I have these gears running is I want you to understand that this is the workflow in the background, or what we call the service level agreements and workflows, because those are 2 separate things. Service level agreement deals with one thing, workflows can deal with other items that may not be within the within service level agreement. So again, when the person submits it, the service level agreement or the workflow is listening or monitoring. And as soon as the person submits it, that service level agreement sends the email back to the requester. And the craftsperson is automatically notified because of that SLA that's moving in the background. If this craftsperson isn't responding or is indicated that they're not checked in yet, the supervisor is informed through email and on their device if they want. And this individual can then assign another craftsperson. As a craftsperson, again, all this is going through the SLA in the back through these assignments. As that's being assigned, the craftsperson can go do the work and has these 3 options to update the information. As he updates this information, as he or she updates this information, the service level agreement in the background will notify the requester if that's set, and the requester can look at these statuses along the way through a web page. Also remember that the service level agreement is looking at all this information, and if the staff person wants to add notes, those notes can be added and be notified through the workflow process. And then if you have a help desk individual, the help desk person can update this through the maintenance console, which we showed earlier, at any given time. I'm now going to turn this over to Jessica Soprenet to show real life action of the Archibus work order system. Jessica.
Well, so real quick, sorry, Jessica, do we have any questions on what Bob just presented real quick? Okay, all right, Jessica, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Jessica Suprene. I am a facilities analyst. I work for the ISO. Here's a screen of the customer landing page. Our customers can look up employees, contractors, and look up rooms, different features, equipment, search work requests they have submitted. If they're a high user, sometimes they could want to look up their own requests, don't necessarily have to email me. So this is available for our customer. They're easy to use, easy to manage, and we were able to personalize it with our logo, pictures, and so just personalize it so our customers can feel connected to Archibus. This is the next page where the customer is able to enter their information. They start typing up their name, last name, anything that has the green box, that's information needed, but the system will automatically populate it. So if your last name is Smith, then you could type in Smith and then you'll see your name and then you click on there and then the information is populated. Also, the customer is able to, on the right-hand side, once that information is populated, they can actually see the actual floor view of the information they've entered here on the screen. When they scroll down, they're able to enter detailed work of the work they needed, room setups, too hot, too cold, chair broke, and any information that will help us, they're able to enter it here. This is my favorite page because a customer can upload pictures, floor plans, to better provide more information for our technicians. Also, this is a good place where, like for myself, if I submit a work request for the guys out in the field, this is where I could upload warranties, contact information, or work requests, or an invoice from a customer to better prepare the technician to go to the room or to equipment to save time, so they'll be able to work on the equipment quicker because they'll have the proper tools or proper information to work on that specific equipment. This, once again, is my favorite feature, either a document or even a picture. Archibus, this is the main console view for myself. So there's different views for different jobs. This page, I can update the problem type, other important information. I could assign the work request and schedule time and day of the work request. I can assign as many technicians as I need to here on this page. Easy to use, very efficient. Myself and my colleagues, since I work remote and say I'm processing work requests, this is an area where, once again, I could verify the information, make sure the problem type's correct, make sure the work description is accurate, and up below is where I could type information that only internal users can see. So say I have to relay information to the technician that the customer will be available from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at their desk. The technician will see this note and better serve the customer. Now, since I work remote, I'm not constantly calling them, but they're getting the information and it's live and it's up to date, so we're on the same page. This is another area where myself or the other administrator can either reject a work request or cancel one, and the system will capture any notes that we typed in. So we're not constantly calling each other, hey, I canceled this work request because of this. My colleague who works on site can see why I canceled or rejected this work request, and we're more efficient and we can do more tasks throughout the day. This is my landing page. I can access my daily operations on the left-hand side, building operations, report a work request, look at how many work requests we have. The middle section is more geared towards administrators. I could view vendors, I could edit users, I could define graph people on my site. And then to the right-hand side is my favorite reports. How many active work requests do we have? My budget centers, aging requests. Also with this view, I'm able to quickly look at the metrics. How many work requests do we have? How many outstanding do we have? What are the most 10 popular work requests that we have for the month? So this is a live landing page that I could quickly look at if I have to answer any questions from management. How many open requests do we have? What about PMs? Have they been completed? So this is my landing page and my favorite page because I could quickly glance and have an answer or see the workflow of the technicians on site. Once again, I work remote, so I could see how busy they are or how many PMs they have, and then just be able to manage and monitor and audit the work requests. This is an example of a basic landing page for my job site. I could set up a landing page for a person's role, for example, an intern, a VP, a manager, and a supervisor. So they're not overwhelmed with what is all this report. It's specifically tailored to their job. And it makes their job easy, and they don't have to worry about any of the features, and just pick what they need to use and then be efficient in their job. Here's an example of Archibus preventative maintenance schedules. With Archibus, I can create, edit PMs. I can schedule the PM by location or by equipment. I can view the frequency, last time issued, and how often, or if I need to change the frequency. I can create, edit, and duplicate a PM. Very efficient, very easy to use. And like Bob said, service level agreements is the back end. Here's an example with a service agreement with a PM. You could see the equipment, you could see the code, and like Bob said, you could be granular or you could be detailed. I'm a little bit detailed here because it's a specific equipment. How long do they have to complete the PM? How often? The middle part, you could see the different steps it's going to go through. And then the service agreement to the right-hand side, once again, like Bob said, this is the time you need to do it. The work should not be done during holidays. You have 1 day to respond. You have 3 days to complete the work, and the service desk manager. This is a regular work request, SLA. It gives you the options of you have 1 to 3 days, the workflow, how it's going to be funneled, who's going to receive it, and it will literally tell me when the work request was done. I'm able to see the service window. They have from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Fridays. The work shouldn't be done on holidays. And I can change that as well if it needs to be done on holidays. Time to be responded and how many days they have to complete the work. The room setup service level agreement allows technicians to receive room setups up to 12 months in advance without hurting the technician's productivity hours. So I have a customer who's requesting a room setup 12 months. They're going to see it in the work system, but this work request will not hurt their productivities, will not hurt their hours because the work is so far in advance, but at least it's in the system where we could start scheduling the room setup. Thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Do we have any questions on what Jessica just presented, or any questions in general?
I just gave everyone control to mute and unmute themselves if you do have any questions.
Okay.
Or you can raise your hand.
Yep. or ask it in the questions panel. Patrick Linus says, looks great, thanks. Awesome. Sorry, Bob, I think I stole your thunder there.
That's okay. No, that's great.
Okay.
This is Ed Gwynn from LPCH. And I got a question about the one of the screens. I think it was showing the equipment category, and then there was and it looked like there was another. It was like an equipment like list. I think it was equipment list and equipment category, and there was a lot of equipment listed there on that. Is that? I don't know if you go back. Yeah, this one here, equipment standard, and then equipment code. What's the difference between those two?
Jessica, do you want to answer that? Or you want me to start? You know what, let me start and I'll let you fill in. So basically, she's saying it has to be this equipment standard. And I also believe what she's saying is, I only want these 5 of the standard. So it's basically saying, I'm going to restrict to the standard, which is an AED, an SAED, and I only want these 5 in this SLA. I would suspect that she probably has another SLA with SAED under the standard and 5 other AEDs elsewhere. But I don't know. I'll let Jessica tell me what she thinks on that one.
Yes, Bob, you are correct. Yes. So it's I go like Bob said, you can go granular and then different and then be specific. Just looking at this, I'll tell you now, it's from locations. So these locations will be for us is the last code, and so there will be a different code for a different location. So yes, you can be very, or like Bob said, or you could just pick equipment standard, and you don't have to use the code. I do because it depends on the location. We have 2 different sites.
The equipment code is specific equipment, like the equipment ID number?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. I was confused by that. I'm not familiar with, how, what the field names are in Archibus, just because we're using a different system over here. And I was just wanting to understand more about, how equipment is tracked and what kind of attributes you can put on that particular piece of equipment.
Yeah, it'll look different for yours, definitely. So yeah, the thing about Archibus I really like is they cater to your industry or your company. So yeah, yours will definitely look different than mine.
And just to kind of reiterate, and kind of point this out a little bit, I'm going to go back to a slide I had earlier, hopefully. And go to this point right here. So what Jessica had done is she actually went down here into this area and added more. So she put a standard which restricted this code, and she was able to then just pick the 5 that she wanted. Now remember, we can mix and match any of these. She could have just gone this standard on this floor or room. That's another way of accomplishing the same thing, unless there was another standard that she wanted a different technician to deal with. So for example, fire extinguishers, if there's 3 different types of fire extinguishers on a floor, you could do it by the standard as long as those 3 different types of fire extinguishers have different standards. If you have the same standard of fire extinguisher and they're different types, then the location and the standard will do all of them and not restrict to one of the 3. I hope that was clear as mud. But this right here is kind of the important starting point, kind of the downbeat music. It's like how you start to identify where you want this thing to be automated.
Awesome.
Tom's asking Jessica, for understanding of site application, please describe the type of facility you oversee, the type of business, number of sites, number of buildings, number of employees on site, hours of operation, and the organization, position and number of folks in the house, maintenance administration, tech supervisors, how many work requests. Yeah, so basically just quantify your installation, Jessica.
Okay. We are a medium-sized, non-for-profit organization. We are in the energy industry. We do have 2 sites, and employees total with contractors and remote, I want to say 950. And on average work requests, I'm going to include PMs. I want to say on average, 30 daily, but once again, that does include PMs, preventative maintenance work requests.
Awesome. Great question. Are there any more questions?
Oh, this is Jessica again. I just want to I want to say this to the whole group. Since I'm administration, I can work from home. And this tool is great because I may type something in, save it, and within that second, my colleague on site can see it. So if we can't get to the phone, he or she can see the work or the notes that I typed in. So I'm not disconnected and we're on the same page. And once again, my colleagues can see the notes I typed in, why I canceled the work, or the document that I've uploaded. And that's another feature about Archibus. They'll have a little icon and it's highlighted. I don't remember the color, that they know that there's a document there. So it's not like the technician's like, oh, I didn't see that document. It's colored different, so they'll be able to pull up that document. And most of the time it's floor plans. This is how I want the setup to be for this event. And it makes it so much easier because the technicians going to the room setup, they already have an idea of what the customer's requesting versus just standing there. So how do you want it? So that feature is great, either picture or PDF. It has been so efficient and made life much easier. Thank you, everyone.
Jessica, would you mind describing your desire for mobile and the challenge you're having getting mobile in? Okay, so let me just set the stage. We've been talking with California ISO for at least 5 years about getting mobile in for the craftspersons. And because they're a highly secure energy, I think there's a challenge getting mobile in, but I'd love to hear your story on the mobile side.
Oh, you're going to bring that up, Bob?
Well, because I showed mobile and you didn't show mobile, and I just want to make sure that one of the challenges you may have at your site is the technology that your IT department will allow and not allow.
Correct. It's funny you're bringing that up because yes, since Bob is correct, they've been trying to bring mobile for 5 years. I've been with my company, with the ISO for 3 years. So when I first came to the site, that was my first question. Why don't we have this on mobile? Why don't we have this on the mobile? It'd be more efficient. The guys don't have to run to the desk, upload it, or anything like that. So I've been fighting this battle, like Bob said, for me, 3 years. And it is correct. It's more of a security. My industry is very secure, so it's highly restricted. Company phone, you can't put anything that the company did not issue on the phone. So if it was up to me, we would have that mobile part of it. It would make everything easier. And like Bob said, when there is an attachment, the technician can bring up that attachment and see it. And once again, be prepared when they're going to meet the customer, or be prepared with the tools that they need when they're going to whatever they need to do to fix it. But yes, every time Bob shows the mobile feature, I'm in the background, you know, being sad because we don't have that feature, and it's more of a security feature. But I'm determined to still kind of put a bug in my IT and say it's going to help, it's going to help. And then of course RSC will definitely work with my IT regarding any other security feature.
Thank you. And I just want to emphasize that it's not that it's not secure. It's just that the unique policies of California ISO.
Correct.
And
Correct.
all of this entire application could be single sign-on. We can do encryption. We can make sure that it's VPN or dual authentication. All those security things are in place for us to be highly secure. It really is just the comfort of this highly regulated energy company that doesn't allow for the mobile. So the reason why I bring that up is just to make sure that when you're looking at your installation and you desire mobile, that you make sure that you involve IT so that they can feel comfortable and we can educate and go from there.
Yes.
Excellent point. Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing any more come in. So Bob and Jessica, any last words you'd like to say?
I just want to thank Jessica for being here and showing us a phenomenal installation. They've been using Archibus for about 12 years up there at California ISO. It's pretty standard. It's part of their, and you can see it's a medium-sized company, and it's priced well and it works real well. So so that works good. So thank you, Jessica. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Bob, I like I said, 90% of my day spent on Archibus, Smart Client, and even Facilities View. It's easy, it's efficient. If I'm able to update or edit or create PMs or work because I'm able to do it. Once again, it's because I do work remote. I'm still on the same page with my colleagues on site. So it's a good, easy, efficient software that we use for facilities maintenance. And I use it daily and don't have any issues. And I do have the great support of the RSC team. So thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to attend this webinar. And it looks like we're going to end it here. So thank you everyone. Have such a great day. Have such a great weekend. Hopefully we'll see you at our next event.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.